Hello and welcome to day 4 of the Swim England National Winter Championships 2017, coming to you live from Ponds Forge in Sheffield. A very good evening to you, live from our studio here poolside, giving us one of the best views of the action here. We've had tears of triumph, tears of disaster, as some of England's top talents look to book their place on the Gold Coast at next year's Commonwealth Games. It's been an action-packed week. We've got much in store as well this evening. Delighted as ever to be joined by Steve Jameson here in the studio. What have we got to look forward to tonight?
Well, where to start but the opening race, weirdly enough. We've got a barnstorming first race for you coming up. The women's 200 metres individual medley has got some serious competition. The likes of Molly Renshaw, Abbie Wood and Aimee Willmott, just to name a few, competing in that. The small matter of Hannah Miley in one of the outside lanes, as well as one of the elite Canadian swimmers that are guesting here at these championships. In terms of what's coming up tonight, difficult to lock past that initially, but still plenty of action on the way past that.
That is going to be a phenomenal race to kick things off this evening. Much more to come beyond that. We've had an action-packed week. So much has been going on this week, and the stakes are high indeed. Don't forget, usually this week it's a bit of an end-of-season splash and dash. It's usually a short course meet, and the swimmers just try and gauge where they are. This time, it's do or die. They have got to get those Commonwealth times. This is their last chance. Now, if you weren't here yesterday, you didn't join us on BBC Sport, where were you? It was a stunning evening of action. Here's what happened, including one of the most entertaining 100-metre freestyle finals I've ever seen.
Our evening opened with Olympic and World Championship medalist James Guy going in the 200 metres butterfly. Guy had already qualified in 3 Commonwealth events prior to this one, but was seeking to add one more to his programme. He went typically all in too, securing the qualification standard with ease. Take a look at Jacob Peters in second, though, pushing every stroke of the way in also securing a consideration time. For James Guy, it was very much a case of a job very well done. In the women's 200-metre breaststroke, we got a potential preview of one of the battles set to ignite the gold in 18, as Team England's Molly Renshaw, already qualified in this event, took on Canadian Kiera Smith. Smith is rapid in this discipline, 7th in the 2016 Olympic final, and was therefore a tough challenge for Renshaw, who pushed her all the way. Throw another English qualifier, Jocelyn Ulliett, in Copenhagen this week into the mix next year, and there should be fireworks. The race of the night, though, unquestionably went to the men's 100 metres freestyle. With quality swimmers scattered all around the lanes, the winner really could have come from anywhere. What no one expected, however, was the winner not only coming from 2 lanes, but from lanes 0 and 9. That's right, the 2 outside lanes, David Cumberledge and Jarvis Parkinson, touching both in 49.81 to share the gold in an absolute thriller. The final race of the evening was the most gruelling in more ways than one. The men's 1500 metres saw Jay Lelliott in his last chance at qualification, having narrowly missed out in the 2 and the 400, kick on hard, but again, narrowly just not quite getting that qualification standard. A rough week for Lelliott, showcasing just what's on the line for our swimmers at these National Winter Championships.
What a stunning evening of action that was. The 100 freestyle, if you've ever seen a joint win from lane 0 or lane 9, let us know. I've never seen anything like that in all the years I've been involved in this sport. And then the 1500 as well, though, it was quite a sobering note to actually end the evening on. Jay Lelliott missing out on all of his chosen events here to make it to those Commonwealth Games, so he looked gutted at the end. He
was indeed, and it was a sobering moment. We mustn't forget the incredible action that we did watch. As Laura mentioned, I've never seen a 100-metre freestyle quite like that. It was a truly remarkable race. We saw some incredible swims from all over the schedule last night, and we can only hope that, well, tonight can live up to last.
I think it will. We've got some short, sharp races to bring you. We'll have the schedule up very soon. But this isn't the only swimming going on in the world of aquatics tonight. The European Short Course Championships in Copenhagen very much underway. We've won medals so far, courtesy of Duncan Scott, Ben Proud, and of course Adam Peaty, the one, the only. Up for Sports Personality of the Year, of course, tomorrow. They're all in action again later on today over in Denmark, and we'll bring bring you some of the results from there as and when we get them. Not the only European action to look forward to either. Next year, all eyes will be on Glasgow.
Gets ahead right on the line.
Well, there we go then. The action in Glasgow to come next year, but let's look a little bit closer to home and look at what's happening in just a few minutes' time. The atmosphere in here very much ramping up. Soon we'll be welcoming our officials out onto poolside. Here is that schedule for you. First up, the women's 200-metre individual medley. Steve, you mentioned the names involved in that one. That is going to be stunning.
It really should be. That's the real headline race of the night, and nice to open with that one as well. It should really set the bar for what should be an exciting evening swimming. Men's 50 breaststroke then follows that. Keep an eye out for Lawrence Palmer, quickest qualifying through in that one. Women's 200 backstroke should be a really, really good event. We've seen some quality swims, not just from our English swimmers, but also the Canadians this week as well. And do keep an eye on Taylor Ruck in that one. Jess Fuller and Chloe Golding, who qualified, well, with standards at least, earlier on this week in the 100, are also ones to watch.
100 fly to come as well. James Guy, the man you saw in action yesterday in the 200 fly, not swimming, already selected for that event, but Jacob Peters, who dipped under that consideration time over the 200-metre distance, in action once again over the 100, so we'll see how he gets on. Then we move on to the women's 100-metre breaststroke. Imogen Clark, she swam a very quick 50 earlier in the week, 30.62 in that event, and she'll be looking to join the likes of Sarah Vasey and Siobhan Marie O'Connor, already out to the Gold Coast next year.
And then we have some really interesting races in the relay as well. We have the team from Belgium in this one, from Lacqua, and they gave our boys from the local swim teams, Hatfield City, Peterborough and Mount Kelly, a real royal rumble this morning. Look forward to seeing that. And we end with the women's 100 freestyle. First up though, it is that women's 200 metres individual medley. Kayla Sanchez was quickest in qualification. The youngster from HPC Ontario. What a talent Kayla Sanchez is.
Yeah, she really is. We've seen some stunning swims from Canada this meet, and I've said it all week that it's brilliant they're coming here, not just in December and being in this sort of form ahead of the Commonwealth Games in April, which is early in the season for a swimmer to peak. Usually the big meets are in July, August, like the World Championships and the Olympic Games. They're now looking to peak in April, when usually they'd be peaking for trials. Canada not only really very much peaking here and swimming very well, taking it to the English talent we've got, they also have to account for the fact they're going to be jet lagged, they're going to be fatigued from travel, but they've come out all guns blazing.
They really have, and just take a look at just how deep this field goes. Molly Renshaw out in lane 8, Hannah Miley in lane 2. Amy Bell is a phenomenal young swimmer from the city of Sheffield. In her home pool, she's very difficult to beat. And Georgia Coates swimming in lane 9. The quality really just goes all the way through this women's 200 IM, and it should be a really, really good race. Look out for our Canadian swimmer, Kayla Sanchez, in lane number 4. She was quickest in qualification, and a reminder of that qualification standard time that the English girls are looking for. It's 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Big race this one, women's 200 metres individual medley. It's the A final, and we'll hand you over now to our commentator, Jonathan Bell.
The Canadian Kayla Sanchez in lane 4 from HBC Ontario, and they've had a fantastic week so far, looking to kickstart their weekend with a spot on the podium as well here, and looking to come away from Sheffield with a commemorative medal. Good start being made in lane 1 from Aimee of Loughborough University so far, but at the turn, currently leading on the splits right now is indeed Kayla Sanchez down the centre in 4.
Yeah, really impressive start from Kayla Sanchez. No great surprise if you've been keeping up with the action in the pool at Ponds Forge this week. Kayla and the rest of the Canadian girls in particular have been really, really impressive. Still so young, of course, Kayla Sanchez, only 17, and she's given a lot of our swimmers some real food for thought as they make their final preparations for the Gold Coast next year. As we come in towards the halfway point at the end of the backstroke leg, it's Aimee Willmott actually who's turned it around, 62.3. Abbie Wood and Anna Day also going along very, very nicely as Kayla Sanchez just slips away a touch. But keep an eye out for her on the breaststroke leg and indeed on that final freestyle. Aimee Wilmot, who won the 400 IM, looking to complete the double and looking in good shape to do it as the field starts to shrink. We're in for a really exciting finish here, Jonathan.
Absolutely, and the 2 quickest on paper coming into this are those from the Scottish clubs. Aimee Wilmot currently out in front in 6 from University of Stirling, and also Hannah Miley of University of Aberdeen, her PB 209.46. Looks as if she's going to be quite a bit off that here though, with Aimee Wilmot out in front by half a second on that turn as they go onto the freestyle leg now. Close company for her, courtesy of Abbie Wood in lane 5 from Loughborough University. Those two, you can see just how close they are to each other at the moment. Around half a body length's lead Aimee Wilmot has right now. In lane 2, Hannah Miley with one last burst to try and muscle her way towards the front 3. Pretty level with Kayla Sanchez, but right at the front it is Aimee Wilmot who touches in with a time of 2:12.05. Her and Abbie Wood managing to get below the 2:13 on the dot time you need for Commonwealth qualification. And she made it look so effortless as well. She came into the wall in first position, Aimee Wilmot.
Well, what a race there from Aimee Wilmot. She was around about 4th or 5th, I think, after the fly leg, and then just turned it around on the backstroke. And from that point on, the race very much hers, holding off the likes of Abbie Wood and Hannah Miley over the freestyle. 2:12.05 within that Commonwealth consideration time. So, all being well, she will add that event to the 400-metre individual medley she claimed earlier in the week on the Gold Coast next year. Abbie Wood also sneaking under that time by half a second.
Yeah, great swim from Abbie Wood. That's a personal best for her as well. It did stand at 2:12.62. She's dipped a 1/10 of a second or so inside of that. Aimee Wilmot was season's best to secure the win. Some really, really good swims from the English swimmers there, and the Scot in in their 3rd position, of course. Hannah Miley just touching out Kayla Sanchez. A really, really impressive swim. Aimee Wilmot and Abbie Wood in particular in the 400, they were excellent. Great to see them performing in the 200 as well. Abbie Wood having a really, really good meet.
And you know, it's brilliant to see Hannah Miley up there as well. She's had such a busy meet. She's obviously using this as preparation. I don't think she's tapered that much for this. She's not going for those Swim England times, consideration times for the Commonwealth Games. So she's using this as the perfect preparation to fine-tune for next year as one of the only long course meets between September and the end of 2017. And it's brilliant to see her pop up on the podium here in the 200.
Yeah, Aimee Wilmot and Hannah Miley, of course, know each other very, very well. Consistent British, don't want to call them rivals, but rivals that they are in the pool.
Rivals in the pool, for sure. Friends out the water, but in the water, it's all go.
They know each other very, very well. They do. Constantly competing in the 400 individual medley in particular. Both of them in the Olympic final in Rio in 2016. We see the swimmers from the B final start to make their way into the shot here and onto the pool deck. This is the swimmers who finished overall in between 10th and 20th from the heats this morning. It's not a necessary senior and junior final. The medals will be spread out from all of our times set here today at these National Winter Championships. Should be a good race, this one. We had Tori Sopp from Will Metro qualify in quickest for this. She goes in lane 4 with a PB set this morning. Once again, we hand over to Jonathan.
mentioned the PB that Tori Sop boasts from this morning. The Wirral Metro swimmer, one of 4 swimmers boasting a lifetime best from the heats this morning as well. 2 of them right up alongside her in lanes 5 and 6 respectively. Freya Colbert of Norris Centurion and Rebecca Clines of City of Leeds as well. Elizabeth King in lane 1 of City of Birmingham also getting her best time ever of 2:23.31. Tori Sop though down the centre, starting as she means to go on after the first leg. Onto the backstroke now, with 0.4 seconds the buffer separating her and Niamh Robinson in 8.
Yeah, really strong start, isn't it, from Tori Sop in lane 4. Was superb this morning and looking to really build on that this evening. Really quick start from the Wirral Metro swimmer in lane 4, 29.59 after the fly, and she's miles ahead. She's increased that lead on the backstroke, going out very quickly in that first 100 meters in particular. The split 63.76, nearly 2 seconds ahead of the swimmer in lane 3. That's Holly Shepherd. She's currently in 2nd place. Eleanor Morris not too far back in 3rd, but Tori Sop here really taking this one out. It's up to her if she can bring this one home. Usually the breaststroke will tend to shrink the field, especially in the 200 meters individual medley, as swimmers can really go for it on the breaststroke. But Tori Sop doesn't look like she's going to be caught here. Rebecca Clines starting to make something of a claim in lane 5, so too Holly Shepherd in lane 3. The gap has definitely closed. Can Tori Sop hold on as they turn for home?
Yeah, Rebecca Clines at the moment really trying to throw herself into the argument on the back end of that breaststroke leg, and it was very strong from her, really putting herself in contention now on this back 50. Can anybody else join those 2 in the golden lanes in pursuit for this first position in the B final right now? Tori Sop still the one claiming the lead. She's had all the way throughout this individual medley, but I don't think it's been as tight as it is now all the way through it. Rebecca Clines of City of Leeds really putting the foot on the gas as they come in towards the wall. It looks like it'll be Tori Sop's. It will be as well. 2:18.21, but goodness me, Rebecca Clines made sure it was hard work in the end for the Wirral Metro swimmer. Her time in 2nd spot of 2:18.69 sees her finish ahead of 3rd position Freya Colbert of Nova Centurion.
A stunning swim there from Tori Sop, leading most of the way, but Rebecca Clines, what a back 50 to come through, to sneak in to 2nd. 2:18.21 the time for Sop. Clines coming through 2:18.69.
Yeah, wonderful swim that from Rebecca Clines to really push Tori Sop the whole way, as both of our swimmers dip with massive PBs. Rebecca Clines set one this morning, 2:20.28. She went 2:18.69 in the final. We've been mentioning all week to keep an eye on the young swimmers in particular. Rebecca Clines and Tori Sop definitely qualify in that category. And this isn't just about those swimmers who are seeking Commonwealth Games qualification standards, the elite international core at the heart of this event. There is also a big number of our junior swimmers who are swimming perhaps in their first ever nationals, or at least perhaps in their first ever finals, who are producing some really good swims and some big drops to personal bests.
Yeah, many of those swimmers are here just to try something new, to experiment and to gain that valuable experience. What you're looking at in these junior finals, in these B finals, is the next generation. We're looking at the next Liam Tancock, Rebecca Adlington, the next Siobhan Marie O'Connor. These are the generation that are coming through, and they're the ones to be watching out for come 2024, 2028 Olympic cycles.
Yeah, absolutely are. And as we take a look there at the start list for our next event, excited for this one, Splash and Dash. We've already seen Adam Peaty claim bronze in the 50 metres breaststroke in Denmark at the European Short Course Championships this week. This is the National Winter Championships version, and we're looking forward to this one indeed. Two swimmers make their way out. Set. Worth pointing out our quickest qualifier, Lawrence Palmer, very quick over 50 metres, man from Putteridge Swimming Club. James Medley is in the mix as well in lane 5. He's at a down and up meet, shall we say. Opens the meet on day number 1 with a 200 metres breaststroke. Missed out on the qualification standard by 900ths of a second in that one. Came back the next day and met the standard in the 100. 50, something of a bonus event for him, and he's just going to see what's in the tank, I think, here.
And you know, in the heats for the 100-metre breaststroke as well. He was 0.01 outside the consideration time, and I just thought, oh, not again. He cannot miss another time by the slimmest of margins, but in the final, he got it by 400. So time on his side in that one.
So we see Lawrence Palmer in the orange cap of Putteridge. Orange cap and some rather zany shorts as well. Making sure he's noticed. It won't be hard to spot him. He'll be near the front. That's Lewis Clifford Stevenson. Very talented breaststroke, especially over the short distance. Swims from Barking and Dagenham. He's got a personal best of 27.86. That's bang on with what James Wilby set in the heat, his personal best, earlier on this morning. So James Wilby, it's safe to say, swimming very, very quickly at this meet. We'll wait to see what he can produce in the 50, something he'll class as his bonus event. No Commonwealth qualification standard for this one, so something of a freebie, a free shot. What can these guys produce? It's over to Jonathan Bell.
Lawrence Palmer in lane 4, the last to raise his head in that orange cap. So dominant when it comes to national competitions here at Ponds Forge. He turns 25 on Monday and trying to get himself in front right now in the pool as well. Just alongside him, you can see James Wilby in lane 5 with the black cap. Very close between those two right now. Can anyone on the outside lanes join them as well? James Wilby will be first, 27.58, sees him reign supreme. Very close stuff between him and Lawrence Palmer. His time 27.71, and in third spot is Lewis Clifford Stevenson of Barking and Dagenham. Just over 28 seconds for him, 28.1.
Well, I'm glad we didn't have cameras in the studio at that point, because I did actually fist pump the air, called that one, that Wilby would take it, with another PB as well, 27.58. Lawrence Palmer second, 27.71. You can see the results now up on your screens at home. Clifford Stevenson, he had a quick start. He was off the blocks like a rocket, 28.1, and third for him.
Yeah, fantastic swim from James Wilby. He's had a brilliant meet. That completes, actually, the breaststroke treble for him. He completes the gold medal hat-trick at these National Winter Championships. Gold in the 2, gold in the 1, and gold in the 50 as well. In the breaststroke, that is no mean feat. 3 entirely different sets of skills. Fantastic work from James Wilby as he PBs once again. Lawrence Palmer a little bit outside of his own personal best, but nevertheless, a super swim from James Wilby, who continues to go to from strength to strength. And if this is what we can expect from him heading into 2018, he will be full of confidence. He
certainly will. Of course, though, we are talking about winning breaststroke events in the absence of Adam Peaty. Worth noting, 25.95 is his record. A 25. I mean, he is just setting new standards. Standards previously unthought of in breaststroke of times. He is untouchable.
Yeah, the standard of British breaststroke, especially with the men at the moment, is unparalleled anywhere else in the world. Not only you got Adam Peaty, you've also got Andrew Willis, who's an exceptional breaststroker. James Wilby now coming to the fore. Duncan Scott as well, who can forget him? The great Scott, who's currently swimming with Peaty in the final of the 100 in the short course this evening over in Copenhagen. We'll get you that result as and when we get it. But we take a look here at the 50B final. Who's going to be the next? Adam Peaty, Duncan Scott, James Wilby now we can put into that sort of bracket as well. Quickest in qualification in the B final at least was Harry Devlin, youngster from York City. PB this morning, 29.28. And quite a few of our swimmers set personal bests as well.
Like we said, these are the juniors who are coming through, and they're going to be looking to peak after their first big block of training this season. And here they're coming in with PBs. Harry Devlin then in the centre lane. Callum Smart in lane 5, 29.26. He set this morning, a PB as well for him. Robert Lancaster also PBing this morning, 29.38. So it's going to be close between those three boys.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, with the elite international swimmers, this event can often be a blow the cobwebs out, see what you got in the tank before Christmas. But this is a national championships, and for the swimmers at the lower end of the spectrum, they will really be targeting these. National titles are on the line, personal bests are on the line. This is the biggest stage they'll compete at for the next few event, so they will very much try and go as quick as they possibly can. And we mentioned we bring you the results of the 100-metre breaststroke. We can indeed tell you it's gold and a new European record for Adam Peaty in the 100-metre breaststroke. That is about as breaking as I can get it to you. That has just been swum, and it's safe to say that swimming's sports personality nominee just keeps going from strength to ridiculous strength.
I remember when guys were just breaking a minute over the 100-metre breaststroke a few years ago, and now we're looking at 57 seconds. Phenomenal stuff, but here we are with the B final of the men's 50 metres breaststroke.
Well, a foray of PBs coming into this one from the heats this morning. It's a good start in the pool right now from Levin Veal in 6th, who is one of those swimmers managing to get a lifetime best earlier on today of 29.44. He's the one early on taking this by the scruff of the neck. Just to his right, Gregory Butler of City of Derby. He's got a bit of intent about him as well. And then comes the charge from the centre, as you'd expect. A big, big push towards the wall. Sees Gregory Butler eventually out on top by 0.05 of a second ahead of Levin Veal, and it just goes to show how close the rest of the pool was as well. Robert Lancaster in 3 and Harry Devlin in 4, not separated at all. Those two finishing 3rd on 29.27, but Gregory Butler's winning time, 29.15.
Yeah, excellent swim that from Gregory Butler. Really nicely done from the man from the City of Derby, which used to be, of course, Sir Adam Peaty's club back in the day before he moved to the Loughborough National Centre. We can now bring in the time, by the way, they swam that European record in. A lot has been made of Project 56. They've well, him and Mel won't have christened that. That's very much a media thing, and we don't really want to tap too much into that. But a lot has been made of this whole Project 56. Admittedly, it's short course, but how about Project 54? Because he swam 55.94 as the European record in the short course. Obviously, short course is much quicker than the long course because of the amount of time you spend underwater, but still, an amazing European record for Adam Peaty in the 100 metres breaststroke.
Worth noting as well, Adam Peaty is not tapered at the moment. And one of his quotes earlier from his heat swim was that obviously it would be nice to race the Russian guys, but they're taking it a bit more seriously than me. I haven't even shaved my beard. So he is very much in the middle of a heavy, heavy block of training. The volume they'll be doing week to week will be massive. And I think he is, he's hurting racing. He put a post on Instagram this week of him looking a little bit pained, saying the face you pull when you do a 200-metre breaststroke untapered. So he's not tapered down, he's not rested for this meet, but still swimming record-breaking times.
Absolutely, and speaking of our quality international swimmers, could have a couple of stars in this one. This is the women's 200-metre backstroke. Some really, really talented swimmers in this one. Chloe Hannam was quickest in qualification in the City of Peterborough. 2:13.48 in qualification, that is a season's best. We don't necessarily expect the swimmers outside it to be put off by that. Taylor Ruck has been brilliant all week for Canada and HBC Ontario. Chloe Golding in lane 3 from the City of Manchester Aquatics. She was fantastic in the 100-metre backstroke, as was Jess Fullerlove. Both of them securing qualification standards in that event behind the Canadian Taylor Ruck. So when we say Chloe Hannam has possibly painted a target on her back by swimming that time in the heat, we really do mean she's going to have at least 3 very, very quick backstrokers directly behind her.
And not forgetting Rosie Rudin as well, who's got a PB of 2:09.55. Consideration time for the Commonwealth Games for this event, 2:10.17. So Rosie Rudin has swum inside of that. Chloe Hannam has not. 2:11.47 her PB. Jessica Fullerlove comes in with a PB of 2:10.01, a season best of 2:10.05. But she won't have swum that at an eligible meet for selection. She has to do it right here, right now. As you said, Stephen, though, she's already proved on form this week with dipping under the consideration time in the 100-metre backstroke. Can she do it again now, tonight, when it counts? the women's 200-metre backstroke with your commentator, Jonathan.
And away we go, Chloe Hannon, the favourite as you'd expect, positioned in lane 4, the fastest seed from the heats this morning with a season's best of 2:13.48. Of course, the consideration pretty special indeed for any of these swimmers to get close to that, but you never know what's around the corner. Taylor Rook in lane 5 from HPC Ontario. Part of the Canadian contingent out there early on in the first quarter and leading the way as well. Her split time, a slither over 30 seconds, 30.07, as they make the first turn of this final.
What a start from Taylor Rook. Look at that. She's already got a body length. She had half a body length by the time she popped up around the 15-metre mark. Phenomenal stuff from the Canadian, who's already this meet won the 100 metres backstroke. She was second in the 200 free as well, clearly in some form here. Now, not forgetting, of course, our English contingent gunning for that consideration time for the Commonwealth Games. 2:10.17, the standard they need to beat here. So Taylor Rook well and truly out ahead here. Behind her, though, we've got to keep an eye on the likes of Chloe Golding, Jessica Fuller-Love, and you know, Chloe Hannon as well. She's in the middle there, she could be in the mix. Rosie Rudin too. What can these ladies do? Coming out of arguably the toughest 50, the third 50, on to the final stretch here of the 200-metre backstroke.
Yeah, it's phenomenal stuff from Taylor Rook, and she doesn't look as if she's exhausted herself either with that fantastic early burst out of the blocks. Beginning to try and mount a challenge in lane 3 is Chloe Golding of City of Manchester Aquatics. Pretty symmetrical right now either side of the golden lanes between her and also Jessica Fuller-Love as well of Bath, and just in the middle of them in 4 is Chloe Hannon. But in lane 5, right at the front, how about that for domination? Taylor Rook, 2:06.87 the time, which is significantly better than the heats this morning. Chloe Golding, 2:09.93, managing to sneak under the Commonwealth consideration time as well. Fantastic stuff from the City of Manchester swimmer, coming out on top out of the English set. And it's next in Jessica Fuller-Love of Bath, third overall out of that final.
Well, how about that from Taylor Rook, one of the best junior swimmers in the world. That was absolutely superb from Taylor Rook. She doesn't mind the backstroke. She's primarily a freestyle swimmer. She did take a gold medal in the silver medal, should I say, in the 100 backstroke at the World Junior Championships this year in Indianapolis. We saw her do that earlier on this week as well, but she looks like a real prospect. Obviously quite well known to a lot in the swimming world already. For those who weren't familiar with Taylor Rook, you've just been given a pretty solid introduction. Congratulations to Chloe Golding, though. We should say 2:09.93 is a very good time and under that consideration time. She's done the double in that sense with the 100 and the 2.
And she paced that so well as well. She was about 5th at the 100 and just came through on that final 50 so quick. A word on Taylor Rook's time there, 2:06.87, about as good as it gets here in England. Gemma Spofford setting our standard back in the day. Of course, Lizzie Simmons already selected for this event, the 2010 Commonwealth Games silver medalist. As we look now at the start list for the B final in the women's 200-metre backstroke.
Yeah, some good young swimmers in this one as well. Tegan Drew was quickest in qualification for Plymouth Leander. She's swam a PB in the heats this morning of 2:17.38. Just 100th of a second outside her is Daisy Platts of City of Leicester. Interesting to see Tegan Drew from Plymouth Leander quickest through into this B final. We had the pleasure of chatting to Roberto Pavoni yesterday on the show. He's now down at Plymouth Leander. He's the Deputy Director of Swimming, I think, is the official title that he doesn't like to be called. And he was talking about the changes that they're adopting down at Plymouth and the different schedules they're making their swimmers swim. They previously were known as a real sprinting club, but with Tegan Drew coming through in the 200 back, as you know very well, Laura, not a sprint event.
Definitely not. I was definitely not a sprinter in the pool, and this is not a sprint event by any stretch. And I've been speaking to some people up on poolside here as well, saying that Plymouth Leander now looking to massively boost the amount of training they do, the amount of mileage in the pool. They're looking at 80k weeks, which is massive mileage. The volume there is huge, and that will build the foundations for endurance events like this, like the 400 free, the 800 free, where you really need that kind of training under your belt to succeed.
You see Charlotte Evans in lane 3, who actually has a personal best of 2:10.35, one of the more experienced swimmers in this race. Only 2:17.66. She did swim 2:10.35 this season as well.
If she has managed to carry on that form into this race, we could be seeing another swimmer dip under that consideration time, but we don't know where she's at. I watched her heat earlier and had an eye on her, seeing that PB of 2:10.35, just a couple of tenths outside, and she looked maybe somewhat laboured down the third 50 into that third and final turn, but whether she actually was just taking it a bit easy, misjudged it slightly, misjudged how quick the others would go, certainly with the Canadians here. What can she do here in the final tonight if she is in that kind of form she was in to set 2:10.35? Who knows?
Yeah, remember, this isn't necessarily ruling Charlotte Evans out of a gold medal. She swims the time, the gold medal is hers. These two finals are not discriminatory for medals in that sense. Here we go then. It's the 200-metre backstroke B final. Should be a really fascinating race, this one. Where's it going to end up? Let's find out.
Well, the margins in the heats for this race earlier on this morning were very fine indeed. Hundredths of a second separating the fastest two, Tegan Drew in 4 and Daisy Platts in lane 5. And Tegan Drew's time earlier on, a lifetime best, but the best start right now being made by Charlotte Evans in 3 from Loughborough University. Her PB over 7 seconds quicker than what she swam this morning. So it's no real surprise when you look at that time on paper that she is the one taking the initiative right now. Definitely saving her best for when it matters. On the turn, in second position, Lily Bosley of City of Sheffield in her home pool, but it's pretty hard to tell on the naked eye who out of the peloton is in second position. Trying to jostle with her for that position also is Phoebe Lendiu in lane 8 as they come towards the halfway point.
Goodness me, this is exciting from Charlotte Evans. 1:04.02, she splits the 100 in, and we were saying in the heats this morning a 2:17, but of course she could have just been taking this easy, ready for tonight's final to ensure she hits the kind of form needed to swim 2:10, which is the consideration time for the Commonwealth Games next year. 2:10.17 the time she needs, and she has gone out for this like a rocket right from the off. She looked focused, and now, I mean, without barring disaster, she will take this, and it's all about her v the clock right now.
Absolutely, she definitely seems to have won the first battle against the rest of the competitors. It's all about her now and going out there, swimming on her own and being able to defeat her own personal best. It's very interesting to see if she can do that. Meanwhile, the rest of the pool pretty coy. Who's going to break away from it? The latest to try and do so, Phoebe Lendiu of Newcastle in lane 8, who seems to be knocking on the door for second or third at the halfway point. She seems to have further put her foot on the gas ever since. There's around 4 or 5 in the centre who are all tied up for third position right now. If you were going to back anyone, you'd probably back Lily Bosley. But at the front, it's been Charlotte Evans all the way, coming in at a time of 2:15.19. In second position is Phoebe Lendiu of Newcastle, as we suspected, 2:16.28 her time, 700ths of a second quicker than that of Tegan Drew, who leads home the rest of the pool.
Wow, that looked painful down that final 50. Hats off to Charlotte Evans. That was a brave, brave race. She went out for that big time, but she paid for it down that final 50. The rest of the field closed in on her. 2:15.19 her final time, but you cannot fault the effort there to dip under that consideration time.
Yeah, she went out tremendously quickly in that first 100, and you noticed, didn't you, that even the split, if you just did basic maths and times the time by 2, she was very, very much on for it, and very much on to go quite far below it. Just went out that little bit too hard. Phoebe Lendiu, by the way, with a very nice swim to get 2:16.28. That's a brand new season's best for her. Tegan Drew in 2:16.35. She's lowered her personal best by the best part of a second, 97 hundredths of a second. Congratulations to Tegan Drew, picking up third in that race and a couple of big PBs.
You know, Charlotte Evans actually had to go out that quickly if she was going to get under that time. I don't think a 64 would be out of her reach by any stretch, and she had to go for it here tonight, but perhaps too soon in the season for her. Perhaps she's just not in that kind of shape that she needs to be to get that 2:10 that she has previously swum. So disappointment, I'm sure, but she will know where she's at, and her coach Mel Marshall will be on hand now to pick up the pieces and deal with it moving forward.
Mel, a hugely experienced coach. I'm sure she'll already have been made aware of the endeavours of one of her charges, one Adam Peaty out in Copenhagen tonight, but her focus at the moment is on her group of swimmers from Loughborough who are at this event. Got a chance to speak to Mel earlier on in the week. Laura, she was in a very chipper mood as well, and she always seems to be at these events. She just loves being poolside, I think.
She absolutely loves it. That's one thing you can tell from Mel when you speak to her, when you see her out on poolside. She simply loves the sport, and whether it's her own success or whether it's the success of the swimmers that she's now coaching, she just loves swimming fast. And you can see by the swimmers who are being coached by her, they love their sport too, and a good coach will inspire that in their swimmers.
Not a bad podium we've got coming up here. This is the medal ceremony for the women's 200 metres individual medley. Top of the podium, there you can see Aimee Willmott. In the senior category, there are junior and senior medals given away in this one. Abbie picking up the bronze medal for the seniors. Customary big smile on the face. And Aimee Wilmot picks up a bronze in the junior category as well, one of a crop of very talented young City of Peterborough swimmers.
And what about Abbie Wood as well? 2:12.49, she has dipped under that consideration time needed as well, as she did in the 400 metre individual medley. So a brilliant, brilliant meet for her. And Freya Colbert as well coming through. Good to see junior swimmers stepping up.
Don't let the size fool you. Freya Colbert only 13 at the start of this year. Fantastically talented junior swimmer. Really, really young still, but an incredible young talent and one to really, really keep an eye on. She's now managed to make the grand age of 14, but she is a very, very talented young swimmer and certainly one to keep a watch on as we advance through these winter championships, through the years. It's only going to get quicker and quicker. There's our two winners in the senior and junior categories. Aimee Wilmot in the seniors. Looking pretty pleased with that as well. Trophy in hand.
We were lucky enough to have her in the studio for the 1500 metre freestyle commentary yesterday, giving us some of her pearls of wisdom. We're hoping to get her back in as well, just to have a chat about her race. Earlier on, 2:12.05, under that consideration time needed. So now, hopefully, she has booked her place on that plane in both the 200 IM and the 400 IM, but the team will be decided by chief selectors and announced in the coming weeks.
Shout out to Rebecca Kleins as well, who picks up the junior medal, junior gold medal as well, and a massive new PB of 2:18.69, winning the B final. So we've seen some wonderful swims, in particular from our youngsters so far this evening, but also from some of the more established names, the likes of Aimee Willmott, Hannah Miley and Abbie Woods, leading the way for our more senior swimmers, shall we say.
And of course, James Wilby as well in the 50-metre breaststroke. They now coming out to the podium. That was a great 50-metre breaststroke final. Really tight, and James Wilby taking the title. A hat-trick of golds here in the breaststroke events. As Steve said earlier, no mean feat to go from the skills of a sprinter to the skills of an endurance swimmer in the 200 freestyle. Well, sprint endurance swimmer. James Wilby, a mixed week, missing out and then dipping under the consideration time needed in the 100 breaststroke, perhaps in more of his comfortable events. Brilliant to see.
Clifford Stevenson was in good form. Started very, very quickly in that race.
What a quick start that was. I'd love to see his reaction time.
Might have been in the minus as it was that quick. It wouldn't have been far off. It was about as good a start as he possibly could have got. Palmer picks up a national silver medal. We'll be pleased with that. It was a tough field. He's very, very good over 50 metres. Charlie Trotman picks up a silver in the junior category as well. A hat-trick of golds then for James Wilby, based in Loughborough. Had the pleasure of chatting to him on day 2 after his successful 100 metres breaststroke swim. Talks about his ambitions for next year and beyond, already targeting the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo. Swimmers quite often operate in 4-year cycles. But in the short term, they've got a couple of big meets next year. The Commonwealth Games, which we are sort of focusing on in this event. They can swim the consideration times, of course, and that's the competition which is really in focus at this national competition. But also the European Championships next year is another huge event. Going to be swimming Glasgow, so not too far for our swimmers to go.
Yeah, the home nations will be out in force for that one, and certainly the likes of Hannah Miley will be very happy indeed to be swimming up in Glasgow.
Yeah, it'll be a fitting way for Hannah Miley to continue her international career, which has been so extensive in her home pool in Glasgow. Had a similar experience at the Commonwealth Games, of course, the last Commonwealth Games in 2014. A wonderful event that was. And we're hoping that the Gold Coast can live up to some pretty high expectations, but at the same time, we have very few doubts that it will. Moving on in this competition, the men's 100 butterfly. And Laura, I know it's an event you're really looking forward to, in particular for the young man in lane 4.
Jacob Peters, yes, 53.38 he swam this morning. The consideration time needed, 52.19. Worth noting his PB is a 53.32, so he's thereabouts this morning on his limits, his previous limits. What can he do tonight? In the 200 fly, he dipped under that consideration time. So in a way, job done to an extent, but I'm sure he's an ambitious guy. He's going to want to add that event to his event schedule come the Gold Coast next year. James Guy, already selected in this event, of course, double Olympic medalist and 2015 world champion. A man with a real pedigree already in the pool. He will be contesting 4 events next year. Can Jacob Peters join him in this, the men's 100-metre butterfly? Also keep your eye on the Italian teenager, Federico Verdiso. He was 3rd fastest yesterday in that 100 freestyle. He was racing in the B final, but 49.89 meant he was 3rd fastest overall. He swam a 53.98 this morning. What can he do tonight? His PB, 52.73. So we shall see. This is going to be quite the battle between the two of them.
Still only 16, Federico Verdiso.
He is a medalist at both European junior and world junior level, already achieved so much. So what can he do tonight? And what of Jacob Peters and that Commonwealth consideration time? Here we go then with Jonathan Bell. It's the men's 100-metre butterfly.
we go. That's not really the race at the start of the night that you would earmark any of the competitors being able to get a Commonwealth consideration time in it. None of these 10 have been able to ever swim 52.19. That is the magic time that you've got to get in order to be knocking on the Team England selectors' doors. What a time to get it if you do. At the halfway point, currently leading the way, Jacob Peters of Poole, 53.38 he managed earlier on, which was 0.06 of a second off of his PB, more or less turning simultaneously at the wall with Sam Horrocks of City of Manchester Aquatics in lane 3. And he's just beginning to accelerate in front of him right now, also throwing his hand into the ring in lane 5. Federico Bediso's had some very eye-catching performances in the pool this week. Will he be able to throw himself towards the wall first here, right at the last, as they come in now? It's Jacob Peters that gets there, 52.92. Sam Horrocks next in on 52.94, ever so tight between your front three, all within 0.08 of a second of each other, but none of them being able to get close to that 52.19 time. Nonetheless, some very impressive performances in the pool, spearheaded by Jacob Peters of Poole.
Well, brand new personal best for Jacob Peters, dipping under 53 seconds for the very first time in his young career. Not quite the time he was looking for, or maybe keeping an eye on would be a fairer way to put it. It's very difficult to drop that much of a personal best, especially in a 100 race, a little bit longer, but not quite long enough to really expect to drop seconds off, but it's still a very, very good swim, and he'll be very pleased there to drop under the 53 mark for the first time.
I hope so. He should be pleased with the PB. I'm just looking down now and trying to assess his reaction and assess his body language. He waited in the lane for a little while, perhaps just coming to terms with what's happened. A PB, yes, but bittersweet in a sense. Did he think the 52.19 was possible? As you said, a huge margin to drop over a 100-metre event. But he is certainly one to watch in the 200 fly next year. A man very much on the rise, in form here. Give him another cycle of training. What can he do on the Gold Coast?
Yeah, Matthew Donville quickest into the B finals. We take a look at the swimmers as they make their way out onto the pool deck here. Coached by Darren Ashley at Warrington. He has a PB of 54 on the money. As we see, Rhys Dunn from Plymouth Leander making his way out. Plymouth Leander swimmers been very, very well supported. They're all gathered down on the poolside at the moment, getting ready to cheer on their swimmers. They've got a couple in this one. There is the other one, Eduardo Valsecchi. And there is the final man, Freddie Clampett, making a trio of Plymouth Leander swimmers. And keep an eye on this man in lane 8. He does a personal best, Cameron Brooks-Clark, 53.67. Swimming in his home pool, he's the quickest on paper in this race. Swimming in lane 8 at the B final, not where he might have expected to have been at the start of this morning, but in lane 8 at the B final he is, and he can still do some work from there, he'll be hoping. Here we go then, just moments away from the start of this one. It's the B final of the men's 100 metres butterfly.
It has been rare this week for a B final to not consist of any swimmers born post the millennium year. And this one was born between 95 and 99. But still pretty youthful and very much exciting as they take to the pool in what should be a mouth-watering contest. And at the halfway point, not much separating any of them right now. Cameron Brooks-Clark, City of Sheffield in his own pool, is the one just about leading the way by a nose or so ahead of Rhys Dunn in 3 from Plymouth Leander. Rhys Dunn One of a trio of Plymouth Leander swimmers taking part in the pool in this race, but none of them at the moment being able to get close to Cameron Brooks-Clark on the outside for the Steel Cities. He comes in, it doesn't look as if he's going to let it go either. Can the rest of the pool mount one last claim towards the wall? The answer is no. Cameron Brooks-Clark then out of 4.7 the time. Next in towards the wall, Matthew Donville of Warrington Warriors, the fastest from the heats this morning. And Jamie Ingram of City of Manchester Aquatics gets in third. Cameron Brooks-Clark then taking the B final.
I don't want to make your head too big, Steve, but you definitely called that one, didn't you, as one to watch. Cameron Brooks-Clark from lane 8, 54.47, half a second or so ahead of Matthew Donville, 54.96. And if you took lane 8 away, that was so close coming up to the wall.
Yeah, really, really close race in the middle lanes in particular. Matthew Donville and Jamie Ingram very, very close to each other. But a good swim from Cameron Brooks-Clark. I'd be pleased with that 54.47. Much more like it as opposed to 56.03 that he swam this morning. Jacob Jackson came into this event with a personal best in the heats this morning, 55.18. He does a little bit better in the evening as well. Just coming outside the top 3 positions though, in 4th place for Ellesmere College Titans.
Now an event coming up I am very excited about indeed. The women's 100-metre breaststroke, Hannah Miley there again. She won bronze in the 200 AM just a couple of minutes ago, it seems, about 20 minutes ago. Back in the pool now in lane 0 for this one. But keep your eye on Imogen Clark in lane 4. She won the 50 earlier this week, very, very quick indeed. She was, I think she was about half a second ahead of the rest of the field in that one, 30.62. She is coached by Mel Marshall at Loughborough University, of course. The Mel Marshall who coaches Adam Peaty, so she's got some form when it comes to getting the best out of her breaststrokers. Imogen Clark will be looking to join the likes of Siobhan Marie O'Connor and Sarah Vasey at the Commonwealth Games next year, who've already been selected courtesy of the times they swam at the World Championships in Budapest this year. Imogen Clark, she went 109.36 in the heats this morning, but has a PB of 107.58. A couple of tenths inside that consideration time, so she's capable of it. It's in her locker. She's got to produce it tonight when it counts.
She is indeed very capable of it. Got the gold in this summer event. Here, the British Summer Championships in Ponds Forge. She does enjoy swimming at Ponds Forge, Imogen Clark. She's won here before, and she's going to have someone of real pedigree pushing her behind as well. Kiera Smith won the gold medal, or at least was first in the race in the 200-metre breaststroke. Very, very talented breaststroker is Kiera Smith, and certainly is one to watch.
Grace Gilroy coming out there, big smile on her face. It's nice to see swimmers smile before the blocks. It's important to be relaxed. You cannot be too het up. Sometimes it doesn't work, it doesn't go in your favour, and you've got to have the relaxation enough to just get in there, relax over that first 50. Certainly you don't want to go out too hard. Get a build-up of lactic acid that will hit you on the 3rd and then the 4th 50.
Wilson from Derwent side in lane as we start to get towards the latter swimmers in this race. Hannah Miley once again in another final, swimming in lane 0 in this one as she continues to experiment ahead of her big year. Lily West completes the field in lane 9. Here you go then, 100 metres breaststroke. It's the A final. Can Imogen Clark dip under that consideration time? We're about to find out.
Well, ice and a bit of pressure on Imogen Clark coming into this one, but you have to say, despite the fact that HBC Ontario have run riot with medals this week, it is very beneficial to have someone like Ciara Smith alongside the Loughborough swimmer in 4 to push her along all the way to try and urge yourself towards that qualification time for the Commonwealth of 107.81. Up towards the halfway point, it seems to be going to plan for now for Imogen Clark with that split of 31.5. The rest of the pretty unceremoniously early on right now. Corrie Scott in 3 from Abbie University, the next set of competition, as well as Ciara Smith, as we mentioned, in lane 5, who's doing her best to try and claw herself towards the Loughborough swimmer in 4, Imogen Clark. And in fact, it seems that that gap is beginning to evaporate between the two right now as well. What a turn of pace this is from Ciara Smith, the Canadian, in lane 5. You can see with the white cap, she's now got a clear lead over Imogen Clark. Goodness knows how she's managed to turn that around so quickly as she comes into the wall at 108.07. Ciara Smith managing to comfortably reign supreme in that A final. And next in was Annabelle Guy-Johnson of RTW Monson, 109.59. Tatiana Bolonagov of Guildford City completes the fastest 3. Ciara Smith, HBC Ontario though, what a second half to that final.
Well, once again, we saw a swimmer going out with a purpose to getting that time. Imogen Clark split 31.50 at the 50, turned back to head for home for that consideration time of 107.81, and the wheels just fell off. 110.16 she posts in the end. Did she go out too fast? Did she need to go out that fast? They are the questions her and her coach Mel Marshall will have to now dissect and talk about. Ciara Smith though, I thought it as she turned in a 32.47. What she got coming back, she's a 200-metre swimmer. She's going to have the endurance to hang on, and hang on she did to take the win here. 108.07, but no swimmers swimming underneath the consideration time there for the Commonwealth Games. So as it stands, Siobhan Marie O'Connor and Sarah Vasey are 2 representatives on the Gold Coast in that event next year.
Yeah, trying to swim from Ciara Smith. Very, very talented breaststroke. It does prefer the 2. Perfectly capable at the 1 as well. And it was just a case of Imogen Clark running out of gas there towards the end to turn in first and finish in 6th. Couldn't be really starker evidence of that.
You can't fault it though. It's gutsy, it's the way you want to swim, and these are the kind of meets where you've got to just try it. She had nothing to lose on that 100. She had a Commonwealth time to gain, and sadly not her night tonight, and certainly there'll be work done in the coming months on that back 50 over the 100 to ensure something like that doesn't happen again in the future. But hats off to her for going out and taking it out there. Ciara Smith though, what a swim.
Yeah, superb from Ciara Smith. Now you move into the B final, and a couple of interesting swimmers in this one. Laura Kinley was the quickest through in lane 4 for Loughborough. Interestingly, she won't be trying to make English qualification times. She'll actually be going for Isle of Man consideration times. Remember, Commonwealth Games, everything gets split up, and she'll be competing under the Isle of Man flag at the Commonwealth, or at least she'll be hoping to. Swimming in lane 4 in this B final. There she is, Laura Kinley.
Another Loughborough University swimmer, of course. They've got the university squads and the national centre squads as well. A real hub of performance there. They've got all the facilities they could possibly want to perform. And they've produced many a good swimmer over the year, but it's been good in recent years to see those national centres just move out. We've got Stirling, we've got Bath, other institutions are coming through.
Rebecca Klein's in lane number 3. We just saw her make her way back to the pool deck. She's only recently just picked up a gold junior medal up on the podium. She's already back swimming. Lily Bucker there, swimming in lane number 7. She took gold in the 16-year category at the Summer Champs, over 200 metres in the breaststroke. Keep an eye out on her endurance, particularly towards the end of the race. Rebecca Burton is more of a 50 racer. She's in lane number 8, but do keep an eye on her. If she goes out quickly and holds it, she's going to be an interesting contender. Quickest through, though, is Laura Kinley in 1:12.13. We hand over to our officials and to our commentator, Jonathan Bell. It's the women's 100 metres breaststroke B final.
Just a 3/4 of a second separating all 8 of these swimmers from the heats this morning, the quickest of which boasted by Laura Kinley of Loughborough, 1:12.13. A couple of seconds up from her personal best, which still stands at 1:10.34. Bright start being made early on from Rebecca Burton in lane 8 from Loughborough University. Of course, mentioned before this race how she is quick across 50. What can she do, though, over double that distance? It's going to plan for her so far. Also, reciprocally on the other side of the pool, in lane 1, Jemima Berkeley of Royal Tunbridge Wells is also up there. It's very difficult to distinguish anyone right now as a clear favourite as they turn 30 metres to go or so, and everyone seemingly in one straight line. Who will make the break late on? Rebecca Clynes in lane 3 from City of Leeds, beginning to purr and put the foot on the gas. Also, likewise in 6, Rachel Taylor of Newcastle, beginning to try a motor now as well. Who can drag themselves through the rest of the pool? Can anyone catch Rebecca Clynes? The answer's no. Her time 1:10.86, which is just 0.4 seconds off of her PB. Second spot boasted by Rachel Taylor of Newcastle, 0.08 of a second quicker than that of Laura Kinley of Loughborough.
Oh, what a night Rebecca Clynes is having, 1:10.86. She takes that, and really no one else was around her there. Almost a second she won that 100 metre by. Truly very impressive indeed. Rachel Taylor in second, Laura Kinley third, Loughborough University swimmer, clocking 1:11.76. Well, what a night we've had so far. If you've just joined us, where have you been? Come on, we had a brilliant 200 metre individual medley race to kick things off. Both Abbie Wood and Aimee Willmott dipping under that consideration time they needed to book their place in the Commonwealth Games next year. The team will be announced in the coming weeks. We can't say for sure yet, it's not quite official, but I mean, they've pretty much done it.
Don't put words in the selector's mouth, we'll get in trouble. But it has been a tremendous meet so far, and a tremendous night as well. We saw James Wilby claim a hat-trick of breaststroke golds tonight, as well as he took gold in the 50 metres to add to his 100 metre and 200 metres titles. Remember, on day 2 of the championships, he claimed the qualification standard time in the 100 metres breaststroke. We also saw Chloe Golding in the 200 metre backstroke, so a brilliant race. She also got a qualification standard to add to her time, and she picked up in the 100 as well. We've seen plenty of swimmers, Laura, picking up really, really good times at this time of the year. Very impressive.
It is really impressive. We spoke to Molly Renshaw yesterday in the studio, and she was saying that actually, if in a usual year swimmers were clocking the kind of times they're doing in December, they would be delighted. But because it's the Commonwealth consideration time, because they've got times to beat, they've got to be on form, and if they're just outside, usually they'd be very happy with the time and where they're at in the season. But here, well, we're seeing tears of real disappointment throughout the week. Not for Chloe Golding, though.
Absolutely not. Chloe Hannum there for the seniors, picking up the bronze, having been quickest into the final originally. Now we see the silver medals being dished out. Jess Fullerlove picking up second. Not quite the time she might have been looking for over the 200 distance, but as I've mentioned a few times this week, when swimmers have already got one qualification standard in the bank, it does just take that pressure off. Should have been pleased to achieve that in the 100s. Rich Anderson picking up the silver in the juniors.
Must also a word for Charlotte Evans. She was swimming in the B final of this event, so alongside perhaps more junior swimmers, courtesy of her time swum in the heats, where I think she was perhaps just taking things easier knowing all she had to do, she didn't care about medals, all she wanted to do was get near that consideration time. She had a PB of 2:10.35, just a couple of tenths outside that consideration time. She went out so hard for it, and the wheels just came off down that final 50. It's so painful to watch, believe me, when you're in the water. It is one of the most painful things. It's like you're swimming through treacle. In the end, she clocked 2:15.19. So outside of that consideration time, but what a courageous effort, a gutsy, gutsy swim indeed for her.
It certainly was. And you saw the big smile on the face of Taylor Ruck there as well. She has been fantastic at these championships, a real swimmer to watch. We've had a chat with the Canadian guys a couple of times this week. They're really enjoying being here, which is, it's something that's not usually happened at these championships. It's been a real nice thing for these local swimmers who are getting a taste of international competition ahead of the international competition. Not something that always happens this time of the year, especially. We've had Canadians here, we've got the Belgians swimming in the relay a little bit later on, and Ben Titley is the head coach of Canada's swimming team. I was speaking to him earlier. He's been delighted with how these guys have been going. Ben, who used to actually be part of the British coaching setup at the previous 3 Olympics before Rio. It's been nice for him to be back and with a slightly different team and really take it to the Brits. I'm sure he's enjoyed that side of it as well.
Probably slightly, a little bit. I'm sure he's been amongst his former colleagues from Loughborough University, the likes of Steve Bailey and Ian Armiger, of course, the Loughborough squad coaches. But what a meet we've had so far, and it is fantastic to see the international contingents coming over. Not only does it give them a chance to fine-tune their Commonwealth preparation, it gives the English swimmers the chance to race against their future rivals come the Gold Coast, but also the chance for junior swimmers to actually experience that international competition, which perhaps they wouldn't have had a chance to do so much. It's been great so far to see. It
really has, and every swimmer we've spoken to has actually said how much of a pleasure it has been having, especially the elite international swimmers here. The Canadian team that's here is very, very strong. The likes of Taylor Ruck, Kayla Sanchez, Kiera Smith, they've been phenomenal this week, picking up first places in finals quite a bit, and we see that quite a lot this week, and it's going to be interesting to watch these guys go again in a few months' time in Australia, because trust me, they'll remember these races they had in Sheffield, and there might be a few English swimmers who might just want to flip the results a touch.
They have been spoiling the English party somewhat here. This is meant to be our winter national championships. Of course, like we said earlier, this is normally a splash and dash short course meet, not a bit of fun, but more of a light-hearted event towards the end of the season. This now one of the only long course events they've had since September, and the chance to get those consideration times for the Commonwealth Games, as we're seeing another victory ceremony.
We are indeed, yeah, nice moment for these young gentlemen picking up the medals in the 100 metres butterfly. You see Jacob Peters there in the yellow top, on top of the podium. And Laura, you mentioned that he might have had mixed emotions, a bittersweet feeling. Well, I think that's what we can sort of read from his face there. He has swam fantastically. No one really gave him too much of a shot in the 100, but just due to the fact of how well he swam the 2, he just thought maybe he's got something special in the tank.
And you know, it could be based on that belief that he's got, based on what he's been doing in training. And when you can see the output in training, you can see the numbers, you begin to dream and you begin to think, this is possible. I can get this. But he was, in the end, I mean, 7 tenths off the time, which is still a considerable distance, especially over a short event like the 100. The 100 fly, of course, being one of the quicker 100s as well. Bit of fun there from one of the officials giving out the trophy. He will be happy though, of course, with the 200 fly effort already this week, second only to James Guy, and dipping under the consideration time needed. He'd have loved, I'm sure, to add another event to his schedule, but he should be there at the Gold Coast next year.
Yeah, just taking in the appreciation of the crowd here in Ponds Forge just one more time, and it's been nice to see them getting a fairly rousing reception for the crowd in Ponds Forge, which has grown throughout the week here, as it is Saturday. A few more people getting into the venue here in Ponds Forge, and hopefully a few more of you watching us on the BBC here this evening. Still a couple more events to come this evening. We have a couple of fun ones as well. Men's Open 800 metres freestyle team event is what's next, or as we like to call it, the 4x2 freestyle relay. And then we end on the women's 100-metre freestyle, which should be a real cracker of a race. We've seen Taylor Rudd already pick up a first place. She'll be going in one of her favourite events, the 100 freestyle, in the final race of the evening.
Yeah, that 100 freestyle should be an absolute humdinger. We've already got Freya Anderson, the World Junior Champion, qualified for that one. She's competing over in Copenhagen at the European Short Course Championships. So who can get that consideration time in her absence? 54.30, the standard to meet. But for now, we're on to 4x2 freestyle relay action. And the Belgians in qualifying were dominant. They were imperious. Very impressive indeed. Can they repeat that? Or perhaps with the domestic clubs just playing it a bit easy? We'll see.
Who knows? It was a very big margin that they did win by in the morning. It did Lacqua, Belgium, the two Borissavljevic brothers, Alexei and Valentin in particular, impressive on legs 3 and 4. Hatfield, City of Peterborough and Mount Kelly are the English teams that will be competing against them. Let's see how it goes. It's the men's 4x2 freestyle relay final.
And away we go, the quartet taking part in this men's 4x2 and Jamina freestyle relay. And it's a very even start, as you'd expect, early stages of the first leg. On the flag for Hatfield in lane 3 right now, Harry Constantine. In lane 4 from Lacqua, the first of the Borissavljevic brothers, Valentin in first, looking to give his brother a decent head start here, and he was beginning to do so as well on the back half of this first leg. Jamie Scholes in the pool in lane 5 for City of Peterborough. And in 6, Sam Daly of Mount Kelly. So the first half of this first leg done for these swimmers. Valentin Borissavljevic is just beginning to pull away from that of Harry Constantine in lane 3. Hatfield, the ones in the pink caps, have dominated this region when it comes to these relay events. Their quartet, though, very much going to be tested right now.
Yeah, and interesting to see the Borissavljevic brothers for Lacqua leading the relay out this evening. They closed it in the morning. So maybe the Lacqua team just experimenting. Valentin Borissavljevic in the water at the moment was the anchor this morning, and he did look very impressive in that race. And he does hold the advantage in lane number 4. Not by a lot though, it's a fine swim from the Hatfield swimmer, Harry Constantine, who's gone out pretty quickly, just a quarter of a second behind the Lacqua squad. And it's Valentin's brother Alexei who takes over on leg 2 for Lacqua. Max Jelfs is away and racing for Hatfield. For City of Peterborough, currently in 3rd in the blue hat, Miles Robinson-Young takes over from Jamie Scholes. Sam Daly did a pretty good job on the opening leg for Mount Kelly. Ben Harrison now in the water for the team in the white hats in 4th. You just see here Alexei Borissavljevic just taking this one out from Max Jelfs in the pink hat of Hatfield. Decent swim so far from the Belgian as he reaches the halfway point of his swim. And we do know, having watched these guys in the morning, that they do have a real good change of speeds. We'll be looking out for that as the individual leg of Valentin Borissavljevic comes to a close. He's held the lead that his brother gave him pretty well as Alexei. And Valentin looking on from just down below us, and he looks pretty pleased as well. As Alexei begins his turn for home. Been a really impressive swim so far from the Lacqua squad. City Peterborough starting to come back into it here. Miles Robinson-Young is just tying himself level with Max Giles. Good back 100 this from Miles Robinson-Young, but here's where you see the Lacqua squad just starting to edge ahead of the rest of the fields.
Yeah, it looks as if we're going to have a bit of a pitting of wits between these two region clubs. I mentioned Hatfield, who are so dominant when it comes to those regional meets. They held in Norwich, Luton, and City of Peterborough, always the nemesis when it comes to the boys' relays. And at the beginning to put up a bit of an attack now, past the halfway point in this final. With Herbie Kinder, the man in the pool, and he's been very much helped by Miles Robinson-Young, who was on that last set of 200, shrinking the lead that Hatfield had in that second spot. James Woodward in the pool for them now, and you still really can't write off Mount Kelly. Harry Noble is the man carrying their baton, and he's trailing by around a length and a half of the tail of Herbie Kinder. So there's a lot to play for in the middle of the pool, but still out in front, Elliot Sutherland, who halfway through his third leg is certainly the man in charge. He had the relay last night with the girls, and despite the fact that earlier on in that day City of Peterborough had absolutely wiped the floor with the other two teams taking part in that final, when it actually came to the final itself, after the lanes had all been seeded, Nova Centurion, the slowest team from the heats in the morning, really pulled something out of the bag. It doesn't look as if something like that is going to materialise this time around. Lacqua earlier on with a time of 7:48.76 was 17 seconds superior to that of City of Peterborough. It doesn't look as if it's going to be as exaggerated as that now in this final, but still a lead is theirs to be lost. Hatfield beginning with a bit of resurgence now. James Woodward beginning to find his form and pull away from Herbie Kinder, who does seem to be slightly tiring now. You can tell because Harry Noble is quick to pounce and try and overtake him on the outside there in lane 6. The final change though being made by the Belgians. Lander Hendricks now in the pool for them. It's all for them to lose and all for Nathan Hughes to try and claim.
Yeah, completely agree. It's been a strong swim so far from the Lacqua Belgian side. Elliot Soderman, who led them out this morning, is the man who took out the third leg here, and he just allowed a little bit of interest for Hatfield and Mount Kelly to build. Lander Hendricks in the water at the moment will be hoping to take that away on the anchor. Nathan Hughes for Hatfield is a very quick swimmer over this distance, does enjoy the 200-metre freestyle. Harry Whiteman for the City of Peterborough, currently trailing the other three, and for Mount Kelly, Federico Badiso, the youngster, is a real talent, and he's keeping up with Nathan Hughes, and for what it's worth, keeping up pretty much with the pace set by Lander Hendricks. Whether he can turn that over, we're not too sure, but really impressive swims from all three of the swimmers at the top here. As they make their way into the final 50 metres, it's Lacqua of Belgium who lead it home.
And you can see that Nathan Hughes now of Hatfield is trying to show his teeth and pull away from Federico Badiso, who's done a fantastic job on the anchor for Mount Kelly so far. But at the front, the Belgians, who have led throughout, look as if they're going to close in on home, and with a comfortable margin as well. In they come with their time of 7:35.8. Nathan Hughes and Hatfield do manage to hold on to second despite the best efforts from Federico Badiso and Mount Kelly. Commendable stuff from them on the final 200 in particular. And the winning time, 7:35.8. Hatfield next in 7:38.57. Half a second or so separating them and Mount Kelly, the City of Peterborough. Still managing to topple their time from earlier by a good 20 seconds on 7:45.44.
Well, we said perhaps the English clubs were just playing it a bit canny there in the heats, and indeed they closed the margin somewhat, but still victory for the Belgians. Brilliant race there. Hatfield pushing them all the way, but in the end, not quite enough.
Yeah, I think there was always going to be a slight element of that this evening. Hatfield and Mount Kelly changing their relay squads up a touch. Lacqua sticking with the same four. That served them so well this morning, and that was really the difference this morning. The four senior swimmers just doing a number really over a couple of the junior swimmers for Hatfield and Mount Kelly, but that's a super swim from the Lacqua squad. 7:35.8 to pick up the win in that one. We've only got one more event left to go, Laura. It really has flown by this evening.
It has. Lots of short, sharp races, we promised you. One more event now, and that is the women's 100-metre freestyle. There is the start list. What about Taylor Ruck? She's been in action already. She's won the 100 back. She was second in the 200 free. What can she do in the 100 freestyle now?
Yeah, it should be a really, really good race, this. Taylor Ruck and Rebecca Smith, two of the quickest qualifiers, both just 17 years of age, two real rising stars from the HBC Ontario swim squad based out in Canada. Anna Hopkin is the quickest English entrant in this one. She is very quick over this distance. 54.94 is her personal and season's best. She's got hopes of swimming that consideration time.
That consideration time, to remind you, 54.30. Freya Anderson already confirmed within the Commonwealth squad. Who will join her? Anna Hopkin, one of those contenders. Jessica Jackson, another. They're both within a second of the qualifying time. Also, Ellie Faulkner. She swam an absolutely phenomenal 200 free. Big PB as well, 156.67 she swam. She won the British Summer Championships in 54.89, so just about over half a second outside of that consideration time. It's going to be very interesting to see if she can get close to that, but we cannot rule out the Canadians here.
Katie Latham there completing the lineup. Talent wherever you look at it in this field. Beth Aitchison in lane one, some PB in this event this morning, 56.21. Anna Main, terrific over 50 metres. How good can she be over the 100? Anna Hopkin and Ellie Faulkner, the two quickest English interests, going against the two Canadians, Taylor Ruck and Rebecca Smith. Should be another good race, this one. The women's 100 metres freestyle.
Is to win this race. She did get gold last year in this event last December here in Ponds Forge, but she's against not just one but two HBC Ontario swimmers now. Taylor Ruck in 4 and Rebecca Smith in 3, and they are in some form this week here in Sheffield. Making the turn at the halfway point is Taylor Ruck. Down the heart of the pool, her time earlier, 54.24, expected to go even quicker than that here as she makes the turn, leading the way by almost a length ahead of Anna Hopkin in 5. The University of Bath swimmer does lead out the English swimmers right now by around half a length or so. Just to her right-hand side is Eleanor Faulkner of City of Sheffield, of course, as we mentioned, confirmed already in the Team England team for the Commonwealth Games, but right down the centre. Absolute ease. Taylor Ruck comes to the wall at 52.96. Unbelievable stuff from her. Anna Hopkin next in on 54.76, just the wrong side of the Commonwealth qualification time. And Eleanor Faulkner in 3rd, the second quickest out of the English girls on 54.88.
Oh, goodness me, what dominance over 100 metre, 52.96 from Taylor Ruck. Just 17 as well. Phenomenal swimming. Anna Hopkin, the best of the English in there. 54.76 her time, a PB, but alas, notched the consideration time needed of 54.30. Also a PB by 0.01, a PB nonetheless. You've got to count them all. 54.88 for Ellie Faulkner. Again, she will be disappointed not to have got near that consideration time, but I'm sure pleased with her efforts this week regardless. And knowing she's on the plane anyway to Australia will be consolation, I'm sure. Yeah, the 100's more of a slightly more of a bonus event for Ellie Faulkner. She much prefers the 2 and the 400. Still very, very capable in the 100, of course, though 54.88 shows how well she's swimming more than anything else at the moment. And a special shout out to Taylor Ruck, their wonderful swim. Only just outside the British record that's been held by Fran Halsall since Rome, I think, in 2009. We all remember how quick Fran Halsall used to be over 100 meters freestyle. Well, Taylor Ruck's just about there, and she's 17 years of age, a real star of the future. She's definitely one to watch, absolutely. Come the Gold Coast next year, what can she do? We look now at the start list for the B final of the women's 100 freestyle. This our final race of the night. Don't go anywhere though, because during the victory ceremonies we will have Aimee Willmott, fresh from her triumph in the 200-meter individual medley, here in the studio with us. So stick about for that, and indeed for our next event. This the B final. And it's absolutely chock full of talent as well. It really is, yeah. Kayla Sanchez is a really, really impressive young swimmer. She's already been on the podium plenty of times this week. Reminder, she's still only 16. 55.33 is what she swam in her heats earlier this morning, nearly sneaking a place in the A final. Amy Grant at Loughborough is another good young up-and-coming swimmer. Maya Westlake has been around a little bit longer, swimming in her home pool at Ponds Forge. Freya Rayner, another one who has been there or thereabouts the junior levels for a little while, very quick over short distances. Joanne Hall swam a PB this morning, 57.38 for Wickham District. Madeline Crumpton with a season's best earlier on this morning. She was in pretty fine fettle. Georgina Dennis was in excellent form, a brand new personal best, swam just fresh this morning. And the procession of City of Sheffield swimmers doesn't show any sign of abating just yet. Kate Clifton in lane 0, joined by Emily Barkley in the outside lanes in lane 9. Final race of the evening then, of what a racing evening it has been. It's the women's 100 meters freestyle B final.
Well, as ever, Kayla Sanchez, one feature of her swimming, she manages to stay in the water for so long after she's left the blocks, and she's the third of the awesome HPC Ontario trio taking part in this 100 free event. So great they were in the A final, finishing first and fourth respectively. Can she make it another first place finish in the final race of the night here in Sheffield? She certainly turns first pretty comfortably as well. 26.33 the split. Let's have a look at the rest of the pool right now. We have Freya Rayner in lane 6 from City of Sunderland, and also knocking about out there as well as Emily Barkley at Loughborough University in the outside in lane 9. Can she make that pace be sustainable for the remainder of this race? It looks as if the answer is going to be no, but look down the middle, and Kayla Sanchez of HPC Ontario again burning in on towards the finish. So comfortable once more. 54.89 the winning time that time around. Maya Westlake, the first of the English girls towards the wall, on 56.48. And Freya Rayner of City of Sunderland completing the fastest three on 56.6.
A case of deja vu there, wasn't it? Kayla Sanchez for Canada in lane 4, taking that one by some margin. Very impressive indeed from the Canadians. Maya Westlake second, Freya Rayner third. Now, delighted to be joined in the studio by Aimee Willmott, fresh from that victory in the 200-metre individual medley. Here she is, Aimee, welcome. Talk me through that race, 2:12.05. How happy are you with your form and where you're at the moment? We'll just turn our mic on.
Start again. Coming into the meet, I was just looking to make the times and hopefully get a spot on the Commonwealth Games team. And to swim as fast as I have, I'm really, really happy with that.
And I know you said to us earlier you did want to go 2:11. That would have been nice, wouldn't it? Is that in the tank?
Yeah, I haven't been 2:12 for a while. My dad just said that was one of probably like my 5th or 6th fastest time. So to kind of be that close to my PBs, even though I'm a little bit away, it's quite nice in December at this time of year. So it just gives me a good sort of stepping stone to build on and progress over the summer.
I love it that your dad's there with the stats. Like
Always.
Stato dad right there. What's it like to have family support, to race this kind of pressure with these stakes, but have your family all around you?
It's kind of the driving force. I think if I didn't have my mum and dad support me all the time, this year would have been a lot more difficult than it was with my injuries and things like that. So to have them there, and then they always come and watch, they've been my biggest cheerleaders while I've been here. It's really nice to have that network of support, and I guess it helps kind of you swim a little bit faster.
And how nerve-wracking has it been for you coming into this meet? I talked earlier about seeing numbers, seeing times in training, knowing you've perhaps got it in there, but you've got to produce those swims when it counts. That's pressure. How nervous have you been in the lead up to this?
I think I've tried to kind of not worry about it too much in training. I've just been thinking, well, I'm getting better each week and I'm getting faster in the pool. So to come here, I was thinking, well, I'm kind of on the up, so hopefully this should be okay. And I saw I'm all right in the heat of the 400, and that gave me a lot of confidence sort of moving forwards for the final and the rest of the week. So I'm just really happy to kind of actually be enjoying racing and just getting stuck in.
And while, of course, we've got the Commonwealth Games, we have to wait for the official selection. You've dipped under 2 consideration times over the past few days. What will it be like for you to race out at Commonwealth Games again on the Gold Coast as well?
Yeah, I think this is the reason I've been so excited to qualify. On the Gold Coast, it's going to be absolutely amazing. You've got the best swimmers in the world from Australia, and they love swimming. So to be swimming in Australia with that huge crowd, and I'm guessing the atmosphere is going to be brilliant, it's just something that I'm really looking forward to if I'm on the team.
And of course, an ambassador for Team England as well. So this must be extra special for you to now not don the GB kit, but actually St George's flag for England.
Yeah, it was really nice when I got nominated by the team leaders, and I was obviously then picked, and it was really special to kind of get that award.
And we're seeing now the presentations for the women's 100-metre breaststroke. Aimee, how much swimming have you been able to watch apart from your own races? I'm sure you're so focused in on yourself, but have you been able to watch much of the action?
I try to. Kind of the atmosphere in the venue and in the pool always kind of spurs you on, so you don't really just want to be kind of worrying about your swimming and then leaving and just not forgetting, because I guess when we're on the Gold Coast, these guys are going to be part of my team, so it's nice to see everyone swimming well.
And we saw in that 100 breaststroke, Imogen Clark going out like the clappers. She went for it, but just the wheels fell off down at that final 50. I'm sure you've been there in races when that happens. How do you deal with that, move on and process it?
Yeah, I think it's really hard when you're after a time and you're after the win, and you kind of just get yourself on the block and you might think, right, I'm going for this, and sometimes things don't go to plan down the back end, but I think that's all part of the learning process in swimming, and I'm sure this is a huge learning experience for her.
It's a big learning platform for many of these guys. We've got such talented juniors on the podium alongside all of you guys as well. Is the future of British, of English swimming safe? I'd say so, looking at the meet this week.
Yeah, there's been a few good juniors that I think have swum amazing. It's nice that they're getting their medals from the morning, and then we're all being presented them together on the evening. So you are kind of noticing people that are coming through, and I guess these guys are going to be the girls that are pushing me to swim faster. So it's great to see such good talent coming through.
And Aimee, it's brilliant to talk to you knowing that you've had a successful week. You've dipped under the times you need, you're happy. Of course, last night when you were here in the studio with us and you got very excited, we all did. Yeah. Jay Elliott going for the time in the 1500-metre freestyle and missing out. I know you've experienced that before, but what's it like on poolside when you've got some crying tears of joy and some absolutely desperate that they've missed out?
Yeah, I think it's a really emotional atmosphere. Everyone's obviously wanting to make those times, and you have put so much effort in and training probably for hundreds of hours a week, and you just train so hard over the last couple of years to hopefully be on a team, and to just miss it, it is heart-wrenching. And even if you've qualified and you're just down there and you're kind of waiting, it's just all the nerves and anticipation that I think make it that more of a panic. It's just not very nice sometimes to have that feeling and just not know whether you're going to be picked or not.
And Molly said it yesterday, that actually this meet's come very early for you guys to be hitting PBs and qualifying times. How difficult has it been to prepare for this?
Yeah, for us it's a huge sort of difference to normal. This meet would normally be short course, so for those guys who don't know, it's 25 metres, so the pool's half the length, so it feels half of the effort really. So for us guys to have to stand up and swim long course swims in December and swim fast at this time of year, it's really good, and I think people are managing to step up and give good performances, and I think that's only really strong for Team England moving forwards, that if these guys have swum well now and we're posting good times, we can only really progress.
And Amy, what's next for you now? Obviously we've got Christmas around the corner. Most of us are sitting up with our feet up, eating and drinking. I'd imagine you'll be perhaps eating a lot, less of the parties I'm sure, but do you guys get some time off now? What's the score?
I'm back in myself now, probably on Monday I'll be back in training, ticking over until Christmas, and then luckily for me I'm off to Australia on the 27th of December.
Oh,
so it's not too much eating
nice.
and celebrating Christmas, but it'll be nice to get away and get some sun and just get a really big block of work in before we kind of get back and then prepare for the Gold Coast.
We've been talking about the blocks of training and the cycles that swimming goes through each season. Just talk to us about that. How do you change from training in January, let's say, to February, to March, and then to the few weeks before into April Commonwealth Games?
So you would normally kind of obviously split your training into blocks, so normally this period up till Christmas is normally a really hard chunk of work and you're not necessarily doing a lot of race prep, but I guess we've had to do that now.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing the 800 freestyle team then. The Belgians very impressive in that in the heats. We will say goodbye to Amy now. Thank you so much for joining us here in the studio. Go and rest your legs after your efforts today. Well done, thank you. Hopefully we'll see you on the Gold Coast. Brilliant to have Amy here in the studio, giving some of her pearls of wisdom. She's been in action all week. Pleased to welcome Stephen back.
Thank you for having me.
For what was a great relay we're now seeing the presentation for.
Yeah, it really was, and it's nice for Lacqua to pick up a medal. Quite a funny moment for all these young lads. I mean, so many people piled onto the podium, and they're all having a good time. Good to see the English youngsters mixing nicely with the Belgian team as well. It's part of what this event is all about, especially when you add some international flavours to it.
Especially trying to fit 8 strapping lads onto one small podium on the top step. I'd imagine they're all squeezing in quite tightly there.
They're all having a good giggle as well.
Yeah,
the Peterborough swimmers, the Mount Kelly swimmers, they're all having a laugh about it. It's nice to see.
Well, we're almost at the end of proceedings here. A few cheers on the top of the podium, and rightly so. We, of course, have the victory ceremony for the women's 100 free to come.
And I think I've spotted what's quite so funny. The medalists, the medal presenters haven't quite followed the protocol here, and they've given the gold medals to Lacqua first. So the Lacqua medals have been accepted by Hatfield, and the Hatfield medals are accepted by Lacqua. That's why they're chuckling so much about that.
Smoothly does it then, very good.
Fair play to the swimmers for just sticking with it there. Quite a funny moment to end the show on the podium.
So we do have the women's 100 freestyle victory ceremony to come. The Canadians absolutely phenomenal in both the A and the B final there. A look ahead to day 5, we have the 200 IM for men, the women's 200 fly, the men's 50 freestyle, the men's 200 back, and the women's 400 free as well. So still plenty of racing to come.
Oh, so much still to come, and it's really impressive actually once you sort of take a look at that schedule there of what we've still got. And don't discount those relays at the end. They will be a lot of fun. The 4x1 medleys are such great races. They always tend to be anyway. Women's 400 free will be interesting. We'll keep a look out for Ellie Faulkner in particular in that one. The likes of Holly Hibbert swimming in it as well. Two very, very talented swimmers who have the pressure off in the sense of they've already swam the times, and indeed they've already booked their tickets on the plane.
They've both been selected, but I feel that's going to be bragging rights there. They're going to be racing head-to-head for that title, so that is going to be thrilling.
Could be a preview of the final to come in Australia. Who knows?
We
I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but those two swimmers are some of the best in the Commonwealth, and it'd be great to see them race head-to-head.
Absolutely. There is the schedule then. In the 200 IM, Max Litchfield already selected. His brother Joe Litchfield will be going for that. Jarvis Parkinson, of course, one of the winners. Odd to say, but we did have a joint win in the 100 free, and he was one of them. Tom Dean, an outside chance as well. Women's 200 fly, Emily Large has already been selected. Kira Schlossen leads the list of contenders for that. The men's 50 free, we have Ben Proud already selected. He, of course, racing in the European Short Course Championships, picking up a bronze, and he is defending champion in that event as well from 2014. David Cumberledge and Tom Fannon, both contenders for that time of 22.12. You've got to ask what David Cumberledge can do. He, of course, the other winner of the 100 freestyle last night, that bizarre 100 freestyle where we saw the medals come from lane 0 and lane 9. Joint gold medal winners. The men's 200 metre backstroke then, Luke Greenbank already selected. Joe Hume, Brodie Williams and Dan Cross, all contenders in that one.
Yeah, it should be a really, really fascinating day tomorrow. Some really good races to look forward to. And we're hoping another wonderful day of action. Just take a look at one more batch of medals. This is in the 100 meters freestyle, which was a cracking event to watch. In terms of the bronze medals, they're going the way of Jessica Jackson in the seniors. Macy Lawrence takes the medal in the juniors. We do have a commemorative gold in this one as well, which will go the way of Taylor Ruck, who was so impressive swimming not just in this event but all the way through the event. Delighted to say, joined in the studio by the one, the only Hannah Miley. Hannah, first of all, what's it been like? I just want to ask you straight away about the medalists on the podium at the moment. Taylor Ruck is one heck of a swimmer, isn't it? It's hard to believe she's just 17.
Oh, it was an incredible race. I mean, that time actually would have medalled in Rio. I mean, to go 52 point in December right now is spectacular, especially off the back of her 200, going 206 as well. So she's a very, very talented swimmer. Yeah, it's just great to see this talent coming through, and great that, you know, they've got the opportunity to race against the UK, and, you know, we get to see that this is what we're up against.
Absolutely, and talk to me a little bit about your meet personally, because as presenters, as commentators, we get given our start sheets, we take a look at who's swimming in what event and who's swimming in what final. You pretty much managed to swim in just about every race that's been going this week. Talk us a little bit through the thinking of that, and what's your idea been for this meet?
This meet's kind of been like training and racing at the same time. I decided not to race the 400 medley because I just want to focus on some events that I don't normally compete quite regularly. So like 200 free or the 800 free, 50 breaststroke as well. So for me, it's kind of an opportunity to work on some skills, put it under pressure of being a bit fatigued from like all the workload that I've been doing. And I've pretty much been getting my butt kicked quite a lot, which is fine. It, you know, it's a bit of an ego bashing, but it's good because it keeps me grounded and it makes me more determined once the racing's finished that I know what I need to work on and focus on the next phase.
Absolutely, and as a swimmer who's been to plenty of Commonwealth Games before, you know, what are you excited about this time round? Because it's amazing that you still have the drive that you do, keep coming back for more on an international level. And I don't mean that in any negative way at all. It really is inspiring to watch you still competing at the very top level. What still drives you coming into this next cycle of big international competitions?
That's a very good question. I genuinely, it's simple as I just genuinely love to swim. I love my event, the 400 medley. It's a complicated event. It's an event that you have to be good across the board, and there's no right or wrong way of doing it. You kind of have to, you really have to train tough. You've got to be multi-talented, and there's always something to work on. So if you've got a strength in one area, you'll find that another part might fall off and be quite weak, and you can work on that a little bit more. And I just find it quite exciting and really fun to train and work on. But yeah, I keep swimming because I just genuinely love racing. I love being in this environment, and it's exciting to see a younger generation coming through and getting faster and quicker, and it keeps me on my toes as well. And however long I've got left in my career, it's I'm still happy getting up on that block.
Absolutely, and the Gold Coast Games is one I'd imagine you're pretty excited for, as we all are.
Yeah.
Swimming outdoors in Australia, it should be a really, really exciting event.
Oh, it should be. I'm just looking forward to being out in the sun. Getting a bit of solar power, you know, it's, yeah, just being out in the sun, because it's a bit dark up in Scotland at the moment.
It is.
But no, it's my first Commonwealth Games was in 2006 in Melbourne, so for me it kind of feels like I've come full circle, going from my very first Games, going out to Australia, to now my 4th Commonwealth Games. Yeah, I've been around for a while.
Took in a home one, of course, as well, last time around in 2014.
Yeah.
Is that going to be sort of strange, thinking back to that Commonwealth Games, thinking of how special that was, and then going back to Australia?
It's slightly daunting to think that that was 4 years ago. But yeah, that was a very special moment for me, to have a home crowd off the back of racing in London for a home crowd. There was just something a little bit more special about it. It really hit home. I mean, that last 50 meters in the 400, I could hear the crowd in the water, and it's very difficult to hear it whilst you're swimming freestyle. Breaststroke and fly, because your head pops up and you can hear it, but on freestyle it was very, very loud. And that will stay with me forever. And yeah, going into Gold Coast, it'll be fun. It'll be interesting, because swimming is Australia's #1 sport, pretty much. So I know that the atmosphere is going to be quite buzzing in the evening. So we're just going to make sure I make the finals to be part of it.
And another event that's coming up next year, which I'd imagine you have your eye on, is the European Championships in Glasgow.
Yep.
Is that the main focus for you, or can you not really start to think about that until the Commonwealth Games are sort of done and out the way for you?
Well, the team's going to be selected, I think, off around once the Games are finished, so we won't know who's going to Europeans until the Commonwealths are finished. So I need to make sure that I do a really good job at Commonwealths in order to have a chance at actually going to the Europeans.
What would it mean to you if you were selected for that home European Championships, to get a chance to experience that Glasgow roar again?
It would be awesome. It would be really, really cool. Yeah, I would love to have that experience again, and yeah, and just be able to perform in front of my home crowd. So I've just got to do the job in Australia.
Well, we wish you all the very best for that. Hannah, thank you so much for joining us. We'll just take one more final look at what's still to come tomorrow on the final day of these National Winter Championships. Been such a wonderful competition, and that is what we've got to look forward to tomorrow. Men's 200 IM kicks us off. Women's 200 fly then follows it. We've then got a real patch of fast swimming. Men's 50 free, women's 50 back is then followed by the men's 200 back and the women's 400 free. We end, as is almost tradition really, at these meets with a couple of medley relays. It should be an absolutely enthralling way to finish what's been a brilliant competition, Laura.
It really has, and we've got so much of the action left tomorrow as well. Still Commonwealth spots up for grabs. It is going to be an absolute thriller. Please join us live from 3:50 p.m. tomorrow. It is going to be brilliant. Hopefully we'll be chatting to a few more swimmers in the studio as well.
Yeah, it should be an absolute cracker. We hope to see you again then. From me and Laura, though, it's a very good evening.
Goodbye.